Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. Today we're going to be ranking all of my warm-toned eyeshadow palettes. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. I was able to find 15 truly warm-toned eyeshadow palettes in my makeup collection. And as someone with a cool to neutral undertone, you may be wondering, you still love your warm tones? I went on a warm tone kick last year and I found some really good things that have allowed me to update the warm tones in my makeup collection. I'm not a huge lover of warm tones on me. I can definitely get away with them and I like dipping my toes in from time to time, but for the most part, I really enjoy more true neutral things or cooler tone things. That's usually my comfort zone, but I wasn't at all surprised that I still have 15 of these truly warm tone things in my makeup collection. So that's why I thought I could rank them for you today to see what is actually my favorites. And some of these favorites have not moved ever since I ever tried those for the first time, because a lot of the things I love, I still love, and those are the things I hang on to. So I did rank a couple of things a little bit lower that are very hard to find. And for the most part, I love all of these. So if this is one of these palettes is your favorite, then it's absolutely fine. So the first palette I wanted to throw in here is the Napping Cheese. This is from Clio. This is a K-beauty brand, and this is essentially a very soft warm tone palette. It's more like perhaps a little bit more neutral leaning, but it has some really beautiful peachy tones, some lighter sort of like beige, yellow leaning shades. It is really beautiful. It has some stunning shimmers and I really like it for this like wash of color kind of look, because that's what I feel K-beauty brands are really good at. This is a lovely palette, but because it is quite sheer and it doesn't have a lot of interesting shades, I feel I have better things in terms of warm tones. This is an oldie but a goodie, but I still like it, so that's why it's number 14. This is the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk. And yes, it has neutrals in, and yes, by now, whenever I use this palette, I will very often go in with these more cooler tone things. But I remember loving it for the really spicy stuff. I have decluttered so many of my eyeshadow palettes that had these oranges and reddish tones, like warm browns in, because I don't tend to love it. But I've always loved how this has a juxtaposition with the purples if you want to, and that's what made it a lot more wearable for me personally. So I've always enjoyed Huda Beauty Desert Dusk. This was long since discontinued, but yeah, it's got really beautiful neutrals in as well. So that's why this is a little bit more versatile than your average warm tone palette, I find, and I really enjoy mine still till this day. 13, 12, and 11 are going to my 3 warm tone Zoeva palettes. This is another reason why I decluttered so many of my other warm tone palettes, because I feel that what these 3 palettes have to offer give me pretty much every rendition of a warm tone that I could possibly want. So that's why I didn't need that many things. So I did put the Cocoa Blend in number 13, because this is the one that I'm least likely to reach for. I'm mainly keeping it around for this cranberry shade, because that thing was all the rage back in 2016 when this palette had its moment. But because it has these like cooler browns and this like cooler purple, I feel I can still get away with it. We get some orange leaning shades here in the bottom, and then things that go a little bit more towards a purpley realm. It has a really nice mix of things, but it is very much an overall a warm tone palette. Then in the number 12 spot is the Spice of Life. This is really beautiful as well. I mainly keep it around for this shade here. This is absolutely beautiful. It's called Unlike Any Other. It's almost like a duochrome. It has this blue flip to it, I feel, but then it also has these like coppers and like murky greens in, and this warmer tone brown here. In the mid-tones especially, you get some warmer tone things as well. It's got some wonderful rose gold things. It has a lot to offer, and it's a good one till this day. Last but not least, from Zoeva, we have the Caramel or Caramel Melange, whichever way you want to go about it. I did stick my nails into it, so that's why it's a bit messy. But this is one of the best sort of orange toned leaning eyeshadow palettes I still have in my collection. This shade especially here, it's called Lucky Penny. No, Liquid Center, sorry. It's this really beautiful sort of like bronzy, golden brown. It's really, really beautiful on the lids. So if I want to go warm tone, then these are some oldies but goodies that I still enjoy. And then we're getting into the top 10, and here you're going to see some of those more recent picks, but number 10 is going to go to this, the Saharan 2 from Juvia's Place. It's another brand that doesn't make this palette anymore, unfortunately, but I keep this because it is the warm tones with the pop of blue. We got warm tones with a pop of blue everywhere back in the day. Like, it was everywhere. And this has been my palette of choice, mainly because the entire top row has like a greeny blue shift in all of these shades. It's really interesting. It's got really nice bronzers, and then these like cranberry, like really rich shades, and then these really beautiful bright aquazura kind of shades that make it look very Mediterranean. Like, I want to go on holiday when I wear this palette. It's essentially how it goes. So that's why this palette is a lovely one, though you can no longer find it. So then we have Pat McGrath's. This is the Ritualistic Rose quad. This is the, what's the formula called again? The Blitz Astral quads. That's what these were called. And this is the one I was lusting after the most, and it has been one of my Pat McGrath favorites. But despite it being like pinks, it's also warm tone pinks. And for me, this feels like a warm rose tone palette. I want to do a separate ranking of all of my like rosy tone palettes as well as one of these videos. But this, to me, I don't know why, but in my brain, this works more like a warm tone palette than anything else. And I think it's because of this brown. It's not the most flattering brown for my complexion, I have to say, but it's really beautiful. And this is the special formula that Pat McGrath hasn't really done much of ever since she stopped doing these Blitz Astral quads. Like, for a while there, she then started doing the Lux quads, and then those baked shadows had already like changed formula, and now apparently even the palettes that have been around for longer are being reformulated to have that new formula in. So this really special, different formula that we got from Pat McGrath, it's sadly disappearing. So I'm glad I still have one of the quads that do have those shades in. Another discontinued one, an oldie but a goodie. I do apologize for how many discontinued palettes I have here, but I definitely like stopped buying warm tone palettes for like a good couple of years, and some of the more recent things are still coming up. Solomona from Odin's Eye. This is a gorgeous palette. I go back to it every summer. It's essentially a yellow tone palette with a pop of lavender. It's got quite a bit of warmth. It does have some more like neutrally leaning things, but in my brain, again, because it has these like mustardy yellow sort of things in, it definitely works as a more warm toned option. That's the look I do with it all the time. I always go in with these yellows and then put this all over the lid, pop that lavender shade on the lower lash line. It's an excellent look every single time, let me tell you, but it's warm and summery and really, really beautiful, and I wish they still did this, but they could no longer source the pigments. So I get it, I get it. I love this Odin's Eye palette for sure. Then we have the neutrals from Cosmic Beauty. This is beautiful. This is something I picked up was it last year that these came out? It was released together with the Cool Trolls, and I like this one better than I ended up liking the Cool Trolls, which I had not expected. Now, for some people, this is going to be a beautiful nude color story, and it definitely has a more neutral leaning vibe to it. But on me, it works like a warm tone palette would. So we have these like warmer purples here. Again, some yellows with these swampy greens. Then some warm tone neutrals at the top. That's the way it works for me. It is absolutely gorgeous. So this is the Cosmic Beauty formula that I know I love. It has enough mattes, enough shimmers for me to build the looks around it. You could go row by row with this if you'd want, and you have a look. You can use it as quads, you can use it in so many different ways, and I really enjoy that Cosmic Beauty has been doing a little bit more in terms of shimmers compared to what they used to do. So yeah, the neutrals is lovely. If you're looking for a good indie brand that I think gives you the feel of indie makeup, but without it breaking the bank, because indie palettes nowadays can be so expensive, then I think Cosmic Beauty can be a really good starting point if you're just getting into indie eyeshadows. And the next palette was sent to me in PR by Sigma. I was gifted the Ambiance, which wasn't a palette I owned yet. It's also not a palette I would have picked myself. But when I started wearing it, I was like, this is a lot more beautiful than I had expected. It's very warm toned. It has those oranges in, some more yellow tone things here, and then we go into these browns. So for me, it kind of works like that. And the way the Sigma palettes are laid out is just so, like, they take all the brain space out of it for you because you can just use quads. Everything here is a quad, and then these two shades go really well with these two again. So it kind of like works like that, or you can use just like two if that's your forte. You can use this as a quad. You can use this as a quad. Like everything just goes together so incredibly well. And there are some shades in here, especially here, that look like they could be a little bit more cool toned. I don't feel they were that cool tone, but maybe it's also because you're pairing them with all of the really spicy warm tone things. Overall, it was a lot prettier than I had expected. Of course, I do have brown eyes, and my hair color, like this is, I did get a little bit of a touch up with the highlights in the winter time, but for the most part, this is like my natural hair color. So that's why I can still get away with it, even though my skin tone is this like cooler to neutral sort of vibe. It kind of still works together with the rest of my complexion. So that's why things like this do work on me. Not my top favorite, but I love that formula. And in terms of like a warm tone palette, it's excellent. We're getting into the top 5 then. The Let's Get Nude from Glossgots. I picked this up because when they announced this, I was like, yep, I need that in my life, because this came out right when I was in the midst of my warm toned palette kick. The palette that set off that warm tone kick is still coming up, but this was released when I was in the midst of it, and I was like, you know what? I might as well try it. So I did buy this with my own money. It has some beautiful shades in. These shades here in this row are my favorites because they pull a little bit red on me, and red tone neutrals can work quite well with my complexion, a little bit better than when they're yellow or orange. And that's one of the things I like about this. Nothing here is orange, which for a warm tone palette is quite a feat. The only thing I didn't love on myself is this like bronzy gold thing. That's like the shade I ignore. And then you can just see how beautiful all of these shades come together. So yeah, I can still use this, of course, but those kind of shades, like if it's too like a yellow tone gold or a bronze with a really strong yellow undertone, it doesn't always go with my complexion. So that's a shade I'm skipping from now on, but the palette is beautiful. Number 4, very hot off the press, the Natasha Denona I Need a Warm. I tried this for you guys in April. It was gifted to me by a subscriber, Esther. We met up in February, and she was like, I have an extra I Need a Warm. Do you want to try it? And this is one that was still pulling on my heartstrings because with Natasha Denona, a lot of the imaging is so deceiving when you see it online. And I had not been able to find this eyeshadow palette anywhere in real life. None of the Sephoras I went to stocked it when I went there, and I was like, okay, I had practically given it up because I knew that I would have to see this in real life to really know what it could do. But now that I've tested it out, I feel it's warm toned, but it's definitely more of like a neutral warm tone palette, if that's what you're like. For some, like something like the Caramel Melange with those orange tones in, or the Ambiance that I just showed you, those are pure, incredibly warm shades that are going to look lovely on people with a warm undertone. This is a warm tone palette for my neutral skin girlies. Like if you have neutral to cool skin and you want to try a warm tone, but you don't want it to make you look sickly, this one. The only true like orange leaning shades are in this quad here. So when you cover this up, do you see that the other shades are quite neutral leaning? It's still neutral leaning warm, so you're still going to get that warm tone, but it definitely has more of a neutral vibe to it. And because I have fair skin, I love Natasha Denona because her color stories are always quite mid-tone heavy, and they're not like super light or super dark. So for me, this works perfectly. If you need more contrast in your eyeshadow palette, this may not be for you. It has a beautiful multichrome here. You can see the orange here, and then in the mirror, you can see the green shift. Absolutely stunning. It has a lot of good things. I did 3, maybe 4 looks with this when I did my review, and I was surprised at how neutral this looked. And I really feel that this is the kind of eyeshadow palette that if I want my eyes to look more brown, this is a perfect one. Number 3, an oldie but a goodie. Is this still around? The Soft Glam from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is such a good one. It's, again, a little bit rosy leaning, but in my brain, there's like 3 pinks. So it's not a full-on rosy palette. It definitely has a lot of these warm tone browns down here, and then some like yellowy things in there. So if I want to wear a warm tone palette, this is very often what I go for. It has beautiful, beautiful shades in. I love the Anastasia Beverly Hills formula as well. This is absolutely gorgeous, and that's why I had to rank it in the top 3 spot, because this has been such a long-standing favorite, which is not something I had expected, but it's definitely sort of like rekindled my love with warm tones as well, and this looks good every single time I put it on. There are 2 shades I ignore. I kind of ignore Orange Soda and Burned Orange. Like these 2 I kind of skip, and then I use the rest of the palette. I'm not sure if that's making sense, but that's sort of how I go about it. And then in the number 2 spot, sadly no longer in the number 1 spot. This was my number 1 for the longest time, but the Nabla Cutie Analog. I think it's one of the very few analog palettes you can still get, or cutie palettes I should say. Most of them have been discontinued, but this I can sometimes still link on websites. I think it's still on Beauty Bay. But here you get these like really nice warm tones, and here again, they pull a little bit red on me, and that's why they work. So especially something like this, it's like this coffee chocolate sort of brown, and it works really well with my complexion. In love till this day with this like peachy duochrome thing. It is absolutely gorgeous. I wished Nabla continued these 6-pan palettes. I have all 7 that they released in the past. I still have them in my home, even though I no longer use the other 6 because I have other things in my makeup collection, but I don't want to break up the collection. So as long as I'm still excited about using this one, I think I'm not even going to get rid of the other ones, because these were solid palettes. I really, really like them. I really, really do. And this is just the epitome of what a warm tone palette can be for me personally. But I've been mentioning how I went onto this warm toned kick last year, and the palette that set it off is my number 1. This is the Romand Better Than Mahogany Garden palette. And this is beautiful. K-Beauty is really, really good at doing these soft, warm tones. I like the Clio one, but I feel that this is just a little bit more special because it has slightly different shimmers. And it does have a pressed glitter, which may not be everyone's cup of tea, but I really feel that this pressed glitter gives you the dimension that you want to add more interest to it. You get 5 really nice sort of like in a gradient mattes that go together really well. This is a bit more of a peach leaning thing. These have a slight yellow undertone. All of them have that. And then you have some beautiful warm tone shimmers that nicely complement those shades. If I go for a warm tone, like this sort of gives me Natasha Denona vibes, like the kind of looks you get from the Natasha Denona I Need a Warm, but this is like 15 euros. So it's A, cheaper, B, the quality is just as good, and it gives you a very similar effect on the lid. So you definitely don't need to shell out Natasha Denona money to get that sort of vibe if that's what you're looking for. So Mahogany Garden from Romand, I never know how to say it, is absolutely where it's at for me. So thanks so much for watching this video today. I have been ranking different color stories in my makeup collection for the past couple of months, so definitely go back to some of the older videos. I'll make sure to put one on the end card and to link the other ones down below. I like ranking my color stories in my eyeshadow palette collection from time to time just to see where my favorites are, and I definitely did a couple of rankings like before I set and filmed my declutters because I knew I had so many palettes that were incredibly similar. I have really been sort of like just edging away at all of these different warm tones that I used to have, and I feel I've really narrowed it down to like my 15 favorite warm tone palettes, and I don't currently feel the urge to buy more warm toned eyeshadow palettes. So these 15 things are here to stay for a long time, I think. And these are just some lovely things. I have really found out that warm tones can also be a good thing for me. and that's just what I'm loving. But I do want to get more use out of the things that I love, because that's also something I find important on this channel. So thanks so much for being here today. Thumbs up the video if you liked it. Let me know in a comment down below what's your favorite warm tone palette. I would love to know. And then I hope to see you again really, really soon in a new video. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.